6월 생각도 깊어지는 6월입니다. 지금으로부터 70여 년 전 그 6월 모든 힘을 전쟁 승리로 부르신 위대한 수령님의 방송.
I'm here now. I had a problem for some reason. It was not wanting to connect to YouTube for a moment. But so now I'm here. And I'm assuming my audio is going out because the gauges are saying that it is. Yes, lots of gremling. Excellent. How was the IWW conference? Oh, how so? What sort of shit was shown? This looks North American as fuck. Yeah. Actually, it looks like southwestern Ohio, but it looks like so many other northern North America sorts of things. 781 area code. Boston's inner suburbs. Go children slow. Very poetic thought. Yep. Wicked awesome. Okay. Oh, what's this? Immediately think something healthcare-y. This sign design. Or machineinc.com. Oh, hey, we got an address here, I think. Oh, okay. I was that far zoomed in already. $8.79 Turnpike Street. Machine Incorporated has got to be the most fucking nondescript company name ever. Stoughton or Stuffton. Or Stoughton. I don't... Fuck knows. Woburn. A great place to get poisoned with tannery waste. Okay. Where the hell is Stuffton? Medfield, Waldborn, Holliston, Nittick. Ah, there we go, Stuffton. Okay. Talk to you in a bit then. Explain AnCom. Well, it's short for anarcho-communist. And either upon hearing this, you'll be quite enthusiastic, or you will be quite unenthusiastic, and it'll be interesting to see what comes next. Okay. Whole person health. Okay, stuffed. Yeah, not bad. For not zooming in. Okay. I haven't heard yet. I haven't heard a response yet. Maybe they just sort of showed up, asked me to make explanations for anarcho-communism, and then just buggered off. Just sort of hit and run request for explanation. But yes, I can understand wanting to come back for that, because this could either That could go in all sorts of interesting ways. Pedestrians and cyclists use crossing. Okay, wherever this is, they speak English there. Yeah, I mean, I get a lot of hit and runs. Well, a lot. I don't really get a lot of anything, to be honest, but... come on. Definitely not US signage here, though. Okay, we are in Malaysia, I'm pretty sure. Dilarang masuk jika telah. Yeah, okay. Protected place. Now, this is illustrated by a cop pointing a machine gun at somebody. Well, that certainly gives you an idea of what kind of protection to expect in the place. Jesus. Okay. This reminds me of, I remember I was visiting some friends in Austria. This is like the late 1990s. And a friend of my friend I was visiting had just gotten back from holiday in Malaysia. And they showed the brochure that they were handed on the plane before arriving, which says, welcome, in big Times New Roman letters. This is the fucking headline of the thing. Welcome to Malaysia, death to drug traffickers. And it's like... look like Tamil to me. Ah, it's Singapore, apparently. Same collection of languages. Okay. City of Mandan. Okay, someplace in North America, and this is some peripheral area of a major city, judging from those street names. Okay. Still getting a very strong North America vibe. Oh, somebody likes muscle cars. I mean, the last few times I've ended up in something this suburban that has, like, numbered street names, it's been Minnesota. But I don't see any wood chippers. Is it a speed limit or maximum? Speed limit. We are in the US. And we've got a school here. That'll help. School's name, please. Mary Stark Grade School. Oh, North Dakota. Goodbye, Stuffton. We're off to North Dakota. Wasn't too far wrong with Minnesota there. On wood chipper. Crookston. We have a town called Heil. That's lovely. Amidon. It's French for starch. Sentinel butt. And Killdeer. Belna. Zap. Okay. Hey. Why not? Why not name your town Zap? Like Zap Route? After Zap Rouse Tower, no doubt. In the immortal classic film, The Final Sacrifice. Interesting, I hadn't heard that. The Phoenicians do show up in the most random places, though. The Cavalier Air Force Station, as opposed to the more careful Air Force stations. Pembina. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, YouTube has to sort of protect itself from the Phoenicians. Because they keep showing up in random places and influencing scripts you wouldn't expect them to have anything to do with. Best Lebanese food around here is a place called the Phoenician. I haven't been there since the pandemic started. God, I miss it. Holy shit, I didn't even zoom in to beyond the state level and I was still 72 miles out. Oh, it's a suburb of Bismarck. Okay. Okay. Something tells me France or Belgium about this. Sorry. Today I spent the afternoon battling with roll plugs. Pantry's getting redone, and this shelving that was already in there, wall-mounted shelving, needed to come out. Is that a quote from something? Okay, pension chien chat. Okay, I knew it was someplace French-speaking. There's just something about the way these fields are organized that immediately made me think that. Le vrai barzoi de Laïka des Tsars. Three, two, seven, six, six. Okay, here we go. Geoguessr. Oh, wow. Bad and score to stay involved. Bobby, there we are. Bouge. Remind me where Geoguessr is from. Bouge. Geoguessr. And 2.2 miles. Oh wow, it was right on the border with Belgium. Like right on it. Okay, more fields. They're like fields this time. And streets you have to reverse a lot on. Okay. Upperton, okay. It's feeling like Britain. Okay, let's see. Yeah, this is Britain. Look at all these hedgerows. Yeah. This is hedgerow country. Very pretty countryside. Nearby, there's almost certainly a pub that has a meat raffle. And weird effigial rituals that they have when they harvest the turfs for the season. Come on, there's gotta be like at least a 2-digit B road around here someplace. Okay, I'm starting to think this is the Yorkshire Dales. Could be Devon, though. Pretty. Bocage? I've never actually been in Normandy. Roscoff, yes. I spent an afternoon there interpreting for a young guy from Plymouth trying to explain about railway strikes. Turfs? Yeah, turfs are the main export. I mean, I wish they'd fucking export them. Instead, they're just sort of building up. I mean, they're just piling up in Britain because nobody wants them. They just can't move them. I mean, they've resorted to setting up international, like, Twitter accounts for their turf groups, where not only the audience, but the location and everything to do with it is actually all in London. Like, the entire Twitter following of LGB Alliance Ireland is based in East London, basically. I mean, they for post-Brexit, they really, they committed to this whole idea of an all-turf economy, and yet nobody fucking wants them. Oh, is that a sign? North Millbrex. Aberdeenshire. Okay, I was a few hundred miles off. That's in the north of Scotland. No, saw this. Okay, Aberdeenshire. Dinnet, Aboyne, Ranchori, Lawrence Kirk, Spittle of Glenshee. Methlick. Yeah, and quite oppositely, it's just next door to a town called New Deer. Yeah, I mean, if you put out a Methlick, you're gonna get some new fucking deer. Yeah. I think the idea of it sort of breaking itself up has its merits. I mean, most of the worst shit is very much centered in England anyway. "26 miles, not bad." At least at Liverpool. Somehow Liverpool manages to be the capybara of British towns. Not bad. 23,000. Well, yes, but I mean, she's definitely got an expiry date on her. Funniest thing, the money there, every time they like update her portrait on the money every once in a while, but the new like updated version is always 20 years behind the actual version you see photographs of. like, the new money that just came out in the past couple of years is only just catching up to how she was looking in about 1980. Oh, get rid of that. We already saw Joe Rogan get, like, thread jacked by fucking Ben Shapiro. They have a House of Lords, even. And the fucked up thing about it is that at various times, the House of Lords was actually the closest thing to a representative institution of government in England.
We're live.
All right, we're live on Facebook and YouTube, right? Yeah.
Okay. We're Jim Simonian, the head of the PragerU's attempt to astroturf their bullshit into schools, is going to react to critical race theory required for private school accreditation.
Yes. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Hi, everybody. Amal, are you awake?
I am awake.
Yes,
Very awake. Always.
Amal's awake.
All
Hi,
hours.
Hi, everybody. Jill Simonian here from PragerU Kids, doing our weekly, what's it called?
Yeah, yes, PragerU for kids and educators. Remember that acronym.
Takeover here in the Wamala studio, because we like to touch base for about 10-15 minutes with all of you parents who might be watching.
Yes, emphasis on might be.
Grandparents, educators who, educators who might not be working in schools right now, or homeschool educators. We like to say hello. We like to give a little reminder and boost that our PragerU kids. Amal is waving at me. Oh, she's waving. Oh, no, you're not waving. Okay, there technical things happening here. We like to give a little boost to our PragerU Kids content that we have on our website for kindergarten through 12th graders.
Because if we don't show this stuff, nobody will watch it.
For all of you, all of us parents, any grandparents or educators that are watching who want to give our children unbiased, innocent, honest content that teaches American values.
And I mean, if you can't find honest, innocent content in an AstroTurf propaganda outfit run by fucking oil billionaires, where can you?
And history without the politicized slant that we're seeing, unfortunately, in many.
Without the politicized? I mean, why just? I mean, without the politicized slant?
Of our public and private schools. What we like to do all the time, become a member also of PrEP. We always got to say that. We're doing our membership drive. Become a member of PrEP, prageru.com/kids. Join us and get in on the private discussion group where we discuss a lot of the things that we discuss here and provide.
Yeah, I mean, they actually charge you to join this thing. I mean, because why the fuck? Why would you actually pay to join another right-wing echo chamber? Like, what exactly does this right-wing echo chamber offer that all of the free ones don't? Do they assume that if it's
solutions to each other in our own corners of the country for our schools? But the article that...
Oh, she wisely didn't mention the last time she was on this kick. She went on about exactly how many people actually are involved in their supposedly grassroots little effort here. And it was like 1,000 nationwide, 20% of them educators, which given their funding and given all the fucking boosting they get from the algorithm and everything
we're going
else.
to share today answers a question that I, as a parent, have really struggled trying to understand, especially this last year. We know that our public education system, for the most part, with the exception of a few educators that really are not happy about what's been going on in the school system, we know that our public education system is broken with our children. We know that they're pushing woke narratives. We know that.
So, yes, and the things you can't even entirely fault that interpretation. Yes, the fact that the schools aren't lying to kids quite as much as they used to, that is the system broken. I mean, yeah, that's a selling point. How?
That they're trying to force these leftist ideologies onto our kids. And I can understand as a parent, okay, these are the reasons why it's happening in our public schools, but for the life of me, I've been struggling. How and why is this happening in private schools?
Because educators got tired of being completely full of shit and telling some fucking great leader narrative.
And currently, I am not a private school parent, but from the outside, I happen to think, hey, if you're paying the bucks for a private education, parents, you hold the cards, you hold the authority. To me, if you have a private education, if you're giving your kids a private education, you have more authority on what they learn because you are providing the school with the means it needs to exist.
Which is interesting. I mean, she's really saying a mouthful here. That it's actually you're paying more money to give them less education is what it comes down to.
But Amala's got an article here that we all found. And this explains why private schools have gone woke. I just want you to tell us what the article is and show us a quick little scroll, because I want everyone to be able to read this, and I think we are going to leave the link, but we're going to talk about it.
Sure. So here's the article. It's out of Washington Free Beacon, and it talks.
Oh, it enforces. Okay, even the right-wing Washington Free Beacon can't completely misrepresent it then. Enforces diversity, equity, and inclusion standards as a requirement for accreditation. Yes. So you can't be overtly discriminatory.
Talks about why private schools have gone woke. Now, the main argument that they place here is that private schools go through a process of accreditation, and they have to go through certain institutes. The specific one here mentioned in the article is the National Association of Independent Schools. So most parents who are sending their kids to private schools want to go to one that is accredited. Now, in order to get
Well, yes, because otherwise it's fucking worthless. I mean, the piece of paper you get, it won't be recognized.
accredited, you have to go through this National Association of Independent Schools, and they are the ones pushing CRT. So CRT is your ticket to being an accredited school.
No, see, that's, again, it's more sort of not lying to the kids quite as much as you lot would like. I mean, could we just stop pretending that every single thing that isn't bullshit is automatically a cathode ray terminal? Tube?
Yeah, and that's the scary part, because what happens is I will say any parent who's sending their kid to a private school, you are putting your child in an atmosphere where you have a perception that they are on track to be successful, to get into very prestigious and elite colleges, and you are, quote unquote, setting them up for life.
Yes. Which already, I mean, and so the idea here is that it's a bad thing that they actually have their fucking education and that there are certain minimum standards.
For a lifetime of success through the schools that your child will have access to. And what happens is, I speak personally here, many parents that have their children in private schools that I know personally try to speak up and say, you know what, this diversity, equity, and inclusion program that you're trying to push right now doesn't really sit well with us.
Yeah, well, then get the fuck out of the school then. I mean, if you want them to engage in overt fucking discriminatory behavior, and then just why don't you just fuck
They have
off?
questions, and then the administrators push back, essentially calling them racist and
Just because they wanted more racism in the school.
uninformed and
Just because they're full of shit.
stuck in a antiquated mindset. But the parents do not pursue it further to try and rectify what's going on in the schools, because oftentimes there is an agreement that the parents must sign to keep their kids in that school, a contract of sorts that really limits them on how much they're able to push back, how much they're able to expose what's happening in their schools. It's like I want to say like almost kind of like a non-disclosure. Like,
Except that's bullshit.
like, you're going to sign this contract. Your child's going to be in this school. You're going to sign this contract. We do not want you airing all the dirty laundry, or else your child could be kicked out of this school.
The dirty laundry being that there are these parents who balk at the idea that a school isn't being like overtly a throwback to Jim Crow.
And parents are so desperate many times to set their kids up for success that they say, okay, I'm not going to jeopardize that. I don't want to jeopardize my kids' future into getting into colleges. And we're all being held hostage. I mean, literally being held hostage.
Just because by the existence of minimum educational standards. I mean, think about it. God, you pay all this money to send your kid to some place where they're not going to actually learn anything, and then it turns out there are fucking minimum standards to require that they learn stuff? What a fucking nightmare!
So the article, take a look at this article. It does a great examination of what is going on, and it explains things 1,000% more effectively than I can ever begin to explain here. But it does.
Hey, that isn't saying much.
I do want to say that one thing it brings up is that trustees of many of these private schools are instructed to keep all board deliberations confidential, meaning hidden from the parents, okay? And there really is no transparency for.
Yes, that's the thing about a private education is it's controlled by the people who own it.
What many parents can
That's the thing about private things in general.
Discover what's going on in their kids' school, and it's really unfortunate because parents.
In fact, that's isn't that why PragerU is so in favor of privatizing things? That there's no, not even a nominal requirement of some sort of minimal transparency or anything like that.
Parents who speak out against things that might be happening risk violating the terms of their enrollment contract, and then what happens? Their child is left without a school. Some of these practices that happen at private schools. Amala, did you know? Oh my gosh, I marked it here and I want to find it. I want to find what happened in January at the Dalton School. Are you familiar with the Dalton School?
I am not.
Okay, so the Dalton
Enlighten
School
me.
is a very prestigious school in New York City, and many of our people watching this are probably already heard of it. In January, a group of Dalton parents decried the school's obsessive focus on race and identity because.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna have to look this shit up. Okay, Dalton. Okay. One of New York City's poshest private schools is in uproar over an anti-racist manifesto. Okay, this is the New York Post. This is gonna be well, let's see. Yeah, come on, Numlock. I didn't ask for Numlock. Who told you Numlock? I want to scroll down, goddammit. Okay. So, bunch of rich white and Jewish parents are pissed off about acknowledging that racism exists. Okay, that sounds like their demographic. I mean,
As the school was doing racist cop reenactments in science, allegedly. and they were decentering whiteness in art class. Now, these
Oh
are the type
God,
of things
that's
that
so
are happening
terrible.
at private schools.
Decentering
And if we
whiteness.
have, and they're beholden to this, as you said, National Association of Independent Schools, which is this overseeing entity that accredits all private schools, and these private schools have access to the marketing materials, they have access to the support, they have access to various resources that they can use to boost their own private school. They depend on this National Association of Independent Schools, and they don't want to jeopardize that, because then what happens? They're non-accredited. They don't.
Except this wasn't even that. This was actually teachers made a proposal, which the fucking New York Times calls an anti-racist manifesto. This has nothing to do with accreditation. Apparently they were getting on just fine with their, like, normal ruling class education bullshit. And some teachers thought that that wasn't good enough and proposed to improve it. This is completely unrelated.
Enrolled, and the whole thing crumbles. Are there any comments? Are there any private school parents watching that can weigh in on this or add wisdom?
I see a few different comments here. Bruce says this should never be allowed to happen or be enforced in schools, public or private. Troy says most students, I think he's saying most private school students are not accepted, who don't get indoctrinated with this stuff. At CRT is a must to recover from our past with some sort of responsibility.
Wait a second. Okay, it sounds like an actual decent person snuck through on the comments, because this dickhead doesn't understand what he's reading.
So, is this? I guess he's saying CRT is necessary for us.
Well, yes, not being full of shit is necessary. You have to be honest.
Right now.
So the pro-critical race theory people, we've talked about this last week. It's not that we don't want people and children to learn about the faults of America's past. That's often misinterpreted when...
Well, it's just that you want to lie about them and pretend that they're only in the past.
When a lot of people hear us say,
Right.
Don't teach critical race theory in schools. But the problem, and we did talk about this last week, I think, the problem is when you completely abandon the most important parts of history when it's concerning the establishment of our country and what brings us to...
And which most important parts? You mean the bit where it was largely to preserve slavery, or the bit where it was a bunch of rich guys who decided that only they and their golfing buddies should be allowed
together
to
as
even
a
have a
nation, when you
vote?
completely abandon that and replace it with all of the bad and all of the marginalized.
Wait a second, okay, but you were just saying the most important things about how the country was founded, so, I mean, that is the bad.
All of the marginalized items in our history. And if you start doing that when kids are in kindergarten, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, how are kids supposed to form any sort of appreciation or sense of unity with each other if you are teaching?
So the only way that there's any possibility for unity is by some fucking myths about the great founding father dickheads? I mean, you don't see any possibility for unity based on honesty? Well, what am I saying? This is PragerU. Of course not.
Recognize a peer by the color of their skin first.
Right. Right, and never forget that CRT is a means to convince kids of color and white kids in school that kids of color are still oppressed in this nation, and that...
No, what the fuck is this? I thought cops were the way that were a means to convince kids of, people of color, kids and otherwise, that yes, that racism still exists in this country.
that our institutions are upholding white supremacy and upholding
Well, what, you saying they're not?
racism, which is absolutely not true. So imagine being a child, learning about the transgressions of America, which nobody is saying you shouldn't. You absolutely should.
No, you're saying you shouldn't. I mean, you equate to CRT with that.
But not coupling that with the actual greatness of American society. So now, as a young
You haven't provided an example of that
child,
yet.
as a young black child, you are convinced that not only does America have a history of transgressions, but those transgressions are still taking place today. You are still
Yeah, which is fucking true.
being held back by the slavery of 1860 and by the Jim Crow era, which is not the case.
And you know what's really sad? Personally speaking, my kids have friends of all different ethnicities, all different
Oh, I'm sure they do.
races. You know, it's like we're in a diverse atmosphere, especially here in Los Angeles. And about a year ago, I started noticing that my youngest daughter would start saying things like, "Oh, my friend so and so, she has dark skin," and I'm like, "Wait, wait, wait. Why are you saying that? What difference does that make?" And she goes, "Oh, well, I'm describing her and this and that." I go, "Okay, that's fine, but why should a child be recognizing people with skin color as one of the primary means of identification?" And then, she started talking about things that she was learning about how black people were marginalized and everything. I go, "Yes, honey, that's true. That's true. That's not like that anymore." And then
That's not true.
she
That's
goes,
not
"Yeah,
true.
I think my friend was sort of feeling bad that she had black skin." And right there, I lost it. I said, and I set her straight. I said, "That is absolutely not true." But
Well, they would. Thank fuck that that her daughter's friend has Jill Simonian to tell her daughter about her innermost feelings. I mean, where would we ever be if people just had to express their own feelings about these things without it being mediated by this wonderful person?
But it was something that was being discussed in the class. And these were small children, and it's heartbreaking because when you start classifying kids,
Is it heartbreaking when the cops murder small children for being black? Or is it just heartbreaking when small children have a space in school where they can talk about that shit?
people, according to skin color, a child who is of that skin color, I imagine, I don't know, they start seeing themselves.
She imagines? Imagines what? What, she doesn't... Does this kid even exist at this point?
As, "Oh, wait a minute, I am different," which goes against everything that we stand for and believe in America.
Right.
Acknowledging difference in the abstract?
Children make simple associations. If you're going to teach a young child that because you're black, you will be held back, and because this other peer is white, they're going to succeed. What makes you think that they won't internalize that? Absolutely they would. And not only are they going to...
Yes, which is why you need to tell them that, although that sort of shit happens, it shouldn't happen, and it's wrong, and it's actually nothing to do with them. That they shouldn't think it reflects on them. Which is a
harbor resentment for their own skin color, but they're going to harbor resentment for people who don't have their skin color. CRT is racism.
Yes,
Period,
of course.
yes.
Acknowledging a problem is the problem.
Anyhow, all right, so that's the article. We want you to guys take a look. If you've got kids in private schools, always feel free to reach out to us, weigh in, leave us your comments or experiences. If you, join PragerU Kids Prep membership, we share a lot of stories about how to combat this in school. We've got about almost 15. We've got about a little over, over 15,000. I think it's nearing 20,000 members now.
Okay. That's surprising, because a couple of weeks ago it was 1,000 and their big fucking membership drive goal was 3,000.
Of prep, and we have a discussion forum that is robust and constantly solving problems. One of the PragerU Kids shows. Speaking of victims and oppressors, here's a segue. One of the PragerU Kids shows that just launched this last week. Excuse me, a new episode, not a show, but like a new episode that launched this week is our Craftery series. And
oh god, this is just such crap.
It is there. She's got it pulled up. What part do you have there?
I've got the finished product.
Oh, the finished product. Okay, show the little product, and then I'm going to explain to you what our Craftery series is.
Sure.
Hours, and then
what? Okay, this is like yet another. Yeah, well, it's so nice that they're teaching, giving this programming for kids with it has absolutely no political stance. The last time I saw one of these examples of their craptery fucking program, it was also making a fucking U.S. flag. I think that's like the only thing they do, except, well, this one's of course the white supremacist, the extra white supremacist
Get your shirt
version.
on, go find a police officer or firefighter, and thank them for their service, for keeping us safe. Their jobs are not easy, and we are so grateful for all of them.
Right, well, yeah, I mean, not that there's any political slant
Make them
here.
proud and wear your shirt. Okay, we hope you had a good time.
All
If
right.
you've got ideas or questions for our next
Who's
craftery,
familiar? Goodbye.
send them our way.
Too
Too much of that lady. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so that was the
No, you're entirely right. She is only even slightly palatable in very small
finished product.
doses
I gotta
and
tell you,
with
there
the
was a
mute
lot
button
of
on.
spray can shaking and like a whole art project that went along with it. If you've got kids that are of the smaller set, kindergarten, second, third, fourth grades, we've got a craftery series, part craft, part history, that does a project with the kids
And every single time it seems to be a
and
U.S.
teaches
flag
them
of
about
some
different holidays, traditions, values in America. This one, obviously, as you can see, is for our first responders, police officers, firefighters. We make a whole shirt. There was a catastrophe with
kind. Well, what, a whole shirt?
spray paint. The episode is actually like pretty funny if you look in the middle of it, because the whole thing almost didn't work, but I'll
Okay,
let you watch the episode and see how it turns out. But the foundation for these kids' videos, particularly of craftery, and you can share this with your family, is to get kids appreciating what their schools are trying to get them to devalue.
okay, but you said it was without a political slant. Now you're saying that it has one, and it's just even more so than the schools.
As we mentioned, at this Dalton school, they were allegedly doing, race-based, racist cop reenactments in
Okay, what the fuck is a racist cop reenactment?
science. And the foundation for our
I mean, I'd like to see some citation for this. The racist cop reenactments in
communities
science.
is crumbling because mainly because a lot of our schools are trying to dismantle any sort of community semblance and affection that we might have for our first responders, policemen, firefighters. We need to teach our kids to appreciate them. We need to combat what the messages that many of our kids are getting in schools.
Yeah, except the thing is, the people who do the best job of explaining why cops suck are cops.
And
I mean, I still remember my first day in high school. It was some wild shit. The so-called school resource officer, he gets up there with his fucking gun on his hip out at the lectern and gives this whole thing about how look to your left, look to your right. Half of you are going to jail, and I hope to be the one to put you in there. And I'm just seeing like, what the fuck am I sitting? What the fuck am I hearing here? I mean, they're not doing themselves any favors. Why not, instead of like teaching kids to be bootlickers, why don't you do some education outreach effort for the cops? Teach them how to, kiss some ass. I mean, they clearly need some help learning to make friends.
And we need to combat them and show them programming and share with them why we should be valuing police officers.
Well, except you're not. That doesn't show anything about why you should be. It just says do.
Firefighters, why we should be valuing different.
I mean, they lump firefighters in the. I mean, it isn't actually firefighters coming in for most of the criticism.
In our community and in America that really keep us together and keep us safe and work towards a more perfect union together. So these craftery episodes, check them out. This one's for first responders. Make your own t-shirt. And it's not necessarily about the craft, but it's more about the lesson.
What was the lesson? I mean, apart from that you apparently don't know how to use a spray can.
The craft was just like a sneaky way to get kids to watch it, right? Okay. So any questions or comments, leave them in the comments. We hope you join us at PragerU Kids and become a member of PrEP. Any last thoughts, Amala?
Last thoughts implies first thoughts.
That's it. Fight against CRT and be present in your kids' schools.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. You guys have a great week. See you next time. Bye.
Okay, and get rid of this bullshit.
I would like to thank both of you gentlemen.
Okay, and with that, that closes our Saturday night stream. I'll be back Friday, same time as usual. Nice seeing you.